Guys, I have been having technical difficulties all day, so I apologize. The video is late coming up. The giveaway went at noon. I've been messing around with this all day. I actually was taking a goof off day anyway, but here we go. This is the video. I apologize that it has taken this long to get this video up. All right, guys, see ya later. Enjoy the video. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. By now you already know that somebody's already won, because as soon as I finish this video, and I know it's going to take me a little bit of time to get it put together and uploaded and things like that, what we're going to do is we are going to do the question and answer session, which I always do. So it was for this giveaway knife. It is the Queen's Cutlery. What is this? The Queen Cutlery Company. 3-bladed folding knife. Hang on a second, I have to enter my password. So, we had 71 people ask questions. And so what we're going to do is we'll go right here to, I have to pull it up, to YouTube. And we will go through these questions. Now, there always are questions that get asked that that repeat. So if it's a repeat question, I'll just tell you, look, I've already answered it. I know for a fact that I am going to wind up answering the same questions that I answered previously. So I will try to do this as quickly as possible. Let me get down here. Let's do a giveaway. We'll go to that video. I don't want it to play. I just want to go to the questions. So, first up, EDC with Aaron. My question is, what will your reaction be? What will you do to the guy or say to the guy when your daughter gets her first boyfriend? I'm so glad I have sons. Otherwise, I'd end up in jail. What am I going to say to my daughter's first boyfriend? I have no idea. I have no idea, but hopefully my daughter is smart enough to make a good decision about dating. So, what's this? And then there's some replies on here. Teddy Feist, hey there, while sharpening a machete, yeah. And he perfectly cleaned a gun when he suddenly... So McGear Bear said his perfectly clean gun will suddenly need to be cleaned. Polar Weiss said, my question is, when were you the happiest that you had a knife on you? Oh, happiest I was? I mean, I've always had a knife on me, so I can't think of a time when it was that big of a necessity. I've had to cut my shoelaces off because I got a knot so tight I couldn't get the shoe off. I actually have had to use a knife to make tent stakes, things like that. So just basically any time I would need a knife would be a time that I'm happy I had a knife on me. But, you know, it's very rare. I went for a walk with the dog the other day and realized that I had not grabbed a knife. David Sandlin said, my question is, what is your opinion on big overbuilt knives in general? I don't like them, to tell you the truth. The big overbuilt knives are something that I think if you want something that big and that robust, you need a fixed blade. William Burke here, let's see. William, I entered him in, but William Burke didn't say anything. He just said feints. Outpost 76, what is the most disappointing, worst modern super steel you've used so far? I haven't used it, but I was very disappointed in the Maximet. I kind of knew what was going to happen with it. I really didn't think that it would be. But as far as other super, I don't like XHP. Well, I take that back. I like Cold Steel's XHP, but there's some of them I don't like. S110V. So a lot of the S series steels, I don't like S30V. I would have to see the one I'm most disappointed with, period, would have to be the S series or S30V. S35VN can be really good. I don't like S30V. So Pivot Head says, if you were in charge of a peace deal and U.S. held Nick Shabazz as prisoner and China held Greg Medford prisoner, would you trade Greg Medford for Nick Shabazz straight up, or would you have to add a bunch of money to either to make it even? I would trade Greg Medford for Nick Shabazz. I like to talk to Nick. I've seen Greg Medford's videos, and he gets all wound up about people doing, even taking his knives apart. And I think that's silly. You own the knife. If I own a knife and I decide to take it apart, and if you've designed it, like I've taken Ferret and Forge knives apart, never had a problem. That doesn't void the warranty. But that's kind of silly. What is the most overhyped knife you've ever come across? Any, you guys know what I'm going to say. I don't even need to say it. Any Emerson, basically. Any Emerson. They're all overhyped. They are decent designs, but let's see. Other knives. Overhyped knives. Some of the Hinderers. Before they fixed some of their issues, some of the Hinderers were just pretty bad. So truth, that's the answer to your question. Blackwood blades, what do you think of Opnel knives? Also, what do you think about the Lansky sharpening system? Well, I have had a couple Opnel knives. They're nice, they're decent, really thin. They're nice to have if you need something really slicey, like maybe camping you need something as a paring knife that you could just fold up. And as far as the Lansky sharpening system, I had a Lansky. They're not horrible, but I'm really not a fan of the fixtured systems. Jovan, Mike, why don't you carry a slip joint at EDC? By the way, I love your channel. Just would like to make more time to appreciate Maximet and RX 121. Never. Rex 121 Maximet, never again. Why don't I carry a slip joint as an EDC? There's a lot of times that I have a small little slip joint in my watch pocket. So it happens. Bubba Peppers, what's your absolute favorite steel? Not to sharpen, but to use, and why? I like the M390 204P 20CV. I've gotten to the point where I think they're about my favorite, and it's because they hit, like they're that steel that kind of hits all the wickets. Really good wear resistance, really good impact resistance, and they are not impossible to sharpen. So you have a really hard knife, but it also is wear resistant and it has enough impact resistance so that it's not going to chip and crack and things like that. So 20 CVs up to LMAX is along those lines too. I like that, especially the way Elliot did his. Yakov, would you like to come to Croatia for vacation? More invitation than a question. Yeah, I would like to go to Croatia if I had fucking money. That'd be great if I could afford to take a vacation, but I don't see it happen. Mile High Tidal Wave is 15 minutes away from San Diego. What do? I spend the last 15 minutes making sure my wife and daughter know how much I love them, and I call my parents, or my mother. Jorgen, a simple way would be to international pay for shipping. I said no because I did it. Originally, I had said that I was thinking about doing international to the wife, and then I realized that I would wind up paying like $35. And even if somebody pays me for the shipping, it's still just, it's such a pain. So this is just going to be a stateside only. I don't know. I might think about it. I might change my mind by the time I get around to the questions. What is the absolute worst knife you have ever handled? Ooh, I've handled some bad ones. Worst knife I've ever handled? You know, I can't think. I've had some pretty bad ones come in. But there's no real way for me to put my hands on what the worst knife ever was. I don't know, Matt had a custom that he had made that was just ridiculously bad for what he paid for it. But I couldn't put a finger on what's the worst one. I've seen some pretty bad ones. Knives Before Wives Smith, so that was We Do 4444. Knives Before Wives. You ever cut yourself and use your blood as a honing oil? I know it sounds strange, but I've done it before when I got blood on my stone. No, I would not do that, because the fact is blood is full of very, it will rust any kind of carbon steel and most stainless steels. I actually have cut myself, gotten it on 20 CV, which is really corrosion resistant, and it'll still rust. So no, I would not do that, because one, it's going to cause rust at the edge, and it's going to leave it's going to soak into the stone. So, but I don't use oil anyway. I don't use oil stones. I use water stones. So cutlery novice, what do you think CRK knives does not let you even option up to a better steel, or even Damasteel option? Same reason that I like, people are like, well, I would love one of your knives, but I want this. It's not for me to make one knife out of a specific material. Same with them. If they were making a smaller quantity, the more steel you buy, the cheaper it winds up being, because you can make more profit off of that. There aren't enough people that are looking to upgrade their Chris Reeves Sebenza to Damasteel or things like that, because that's a costly option. There are not enough of them to make it a viable option. So I mean, you stick with what works. I mean, I've tried stuff and it doesn't work. So Zachary Martoff, how long I've been growing my beard? I stopped shaving when I retired from the Navy, so 2009, I believe. I've shaved it, I think I shaved it twice in like 7 or 8 years. What is the worst knife you've ever handled in the terms of functionality? Like I said, there's a bunch of bad ones. There's some really bad ones, and knives that people have sent me that are damaged, things like that. So it's, I can't really, like I said before, I can't put my finger on one. There's been a few of them. Pizza Axe Bandit said, I was one off for the last one. Let's see if I can get it this time, LOL. And then there was a reply. Someone said, but who's your favorite custom? Oh, so same person. Favorite custom makers, new and old. Okay. Robert Lovelace has got to be my favorite custom knife maker. And then Pendleton. The guy that came up with the Pendleton Hunter. Both of those guys' knives are just gorgeous. So here we go. So that was Pizza Axe Bandit. Tailspin 215. What's your favorite part about the sharpening process? When you get done and you look at how refined that edge has went from what it was, or especially if you've repaired any damage, that's always like my favorite part, is seeing the repair that was done. McGearbear, Mike, 'tis but a flesh wound. Easy for me to say. Good thing knife cuts heal quickly. Do you ever carry slip joints? I already answered, yeah, I do. And that one right there, it's healing up pretty well. It's still pretty sore. It was deep in the very middle. So at the very beginning of the giveaway video that you guys saw. Andrew Thompson, what are your opinions on diamond wet waterstones and more high-tech waterstone options? Have you been interested in using them? So actually, I am using the Vrenev bonded diamond stones, and I like them. I don't usually like the plain diamonds, and even with those diamond stones, there's still issues with them that I'm not 100% sure I like. I am going to do a video about those, but yeah, I've been interested in them, but I just didn't see the value in it. And here's the thing too, you can't use them on all your knives. Even the Vrenev diamond stones, I've noticed, have I think they don't like to cut softer steels. They gum up, or not gum up, but they slick up and it fills, as opposed to cutting and lifting away the material. So you get a slippery, it just stops cutting on softer steels. It's really good for harder steels. So there we go. So Luigi DeFrancesco. Yeah, there we go. Whatever. Luigi. Hi, Michael. Love your channel. I was wondering if I've ordered one of your neck knives. I've been looking for something that's small and cool looking. Thank you. I actually have your email, and I will get back to you, Luigi. I just have not had time. It's 1 o'clock. My wife's going to be home soon. I'm trying to get this video done. Or it's not 1 o'clock. That clock's way wrong. Huh. Is it 1 already? Well, anyway. No, it's not. Should I stop collecting budget folders? It depends on what you want, man. Some people are perfectly happy with like a $60 CRKT folder or a Cold Steel. Don't get me wrong. It's your personal choice. It's what's up to you. So I still have budget folders that are in my collection. They get carried, they get used. But then again, I also have a $1,000 fucking folding knife that I carry on a regular basis. Here is a regular carry knife that I, carry regularly, and it's an $80 knife. So it just depends on what you want. What was the name of your first boat? So that was Robert Tang that asked me if he should stop collecting budget folders. Ace Heartless, what was the name of my first boat? My first ship was the USS Dubuque out of Sasebo, Japan. Brad Leffert, do you have a favorite knot? What is your favorite word? I like using a series of half hitches to make a slip knot, a sliding lock knot. So 2 in, 1 out, so you make a loop, and then there's 2 half hitches on the inside and then 1 on the outside, and it will not go anywhere, but you can adjust. It locks in, so you can tighten it and things like that. That's the knots that I used on it. Other than that, probably a bowline. Tug bowline's really cool because you can throw it. It's a thrown tug bowline. So my favorite word, fuck, I use it a lot. Are there any knives that yet to be released that you are excited about? Yes. And as a matter of fact, I'm trying to set something up. I don't know if it's going to happen. Bob Trezula, he's in San Marcos here in San Diego, or the San Diego area now. He has got a knife coming out on Mass Drop, and I actually put aside my Patreon money to purchase that knife. It's dropped. It won't be shipping until like September. So I am excited about that. I want to see that knife. I want to try it because, Bob Trezula is the godfather of the tactical folding knife. Sean Liu, why was it so difficult to sharpen for you to sharpen Maxima? It takes me 20 minutes to sharpen Maxima to wear products. Good for you. I'm not doing it. I already got a guy for that. I'm not going to read this entire thing. It's too long. But I am going to count you in for the giveaway. What's your biggest pet peeve regarding, this is Bikes and Blades 909. What is your biggest pet peeve regarding knife review sharpening videos here on YouTube? Knife review videos? The whole thing where they're not honest about it. Like, you got some guys that only like certain things and things like that. Now, the flip side of that, what is my biggest pet peeve regarding knife and review and sharpening videos here on YouTube? The things that people keep saying and coming into the comments section and telling me that, after sharpening literally thousands of knives, telling me that I'm doing something wrong or this and that. And it's the people that like flip out, like the fanboys. Like I've said bad things about, like I said, I don't like all of the Ferrum Forge knives. I don't like all of Chris Reeves' knives. But there are some companies I just don't like. But then people just get so offended about someone having an opinion that is contradictory to theirs. And it's frustrating. And it's, I try to let it's usually the nasty comments that you wind up getting in the comment section of your video. So that was Bikes and Blades. And Jimmy Jocelyn, what is your favorite type of knife? My favorite type of knife, to tell you the truth, honestly, is a good fixed blade. But I have no need to carry it. I gravitate to fixed blades. That's why I make fixed blades. I gravitate to those because they are so much more robust, so much less chance that they're gonna give up, and there's no lock rock, there's no wear in, there's no chance that over a period of time that the bearings are gonna go bad. So they're my favorite, but second favorite would be, like, I love a good frame lock, and with that now I also like the Spyderco compression lock, which is like a frame. It's a lot like a frame lock. It's more like a liner lock, like a reverse liner lock. So guys, hang on a second. I gotta take a break. I'm gonna have to consolidate all these, and so right now we are on Jimmy Jocelyn's question. So there was a complication, and the video that I shot earlier did not, so I took a break, and then there was an issue, and so now I have to shoot this over. I was trying to consolidate everything and upload it, and I realized I erased it, so now I'm gonna have to answer the same questions again. So the video that did save, I stopped at Jimmy Jocelyn. He asked me what my favorite type of knife is. Felipe Russ said, I know you love Emerson knives. Why? Not even gonna justify that with a question, with an answer to that question. Go back and watch my video. I think they're overpriced for what you get. Best production knife company, low end and high end. Production knife companies, high end. You know what? I don't know anymore, because the thing is, they change up and down, and knives that were doing such a very good job have now started to let their quality slip. So, you know, I just don't have an opinion on that right at the moment. Low end CRKT knives are reliable. They're always crappy. Not crappy. They're low end. They do a fairly decent job on most of their knives. Kershaw, that'd be another one. What is your favorite slip joint? This is Michael Richter. So the last one was Brandon Sheehan. Michael Richter, what's your favorite slip joint pattern or brand? I like just a regular, just a small little, like one of these. My favorite brand, though, by sheer volume of knives that I've purchased, would have to be Swiss Army knives. The Victronics. The Victorinox. Weird question. What's your opinion on anime? That's Lance Leon. I don't have one. I don't watch anime. My opinion is, I think it's silly. There's only ever been a couple things that I would consider that would be like anime that I've ever watched. It was like, I watched Vampire Hunter D a long time ago when I was younger. I recorded it on Sci-Fi Channel. Let's see, there was another one. But right now, I'd say it would have to be the newest one would be Castlevania on Netflix. Their animated series for Castlevania. So, Jonathan Dorsey, what got you into sharpening knives? Grew up on a farm. We always watched my dad sharpen knives, my grandfather sharpening knives. Just kind of got into it. And I realized I was doing a pretty good job of it and could make money. Best kitchen knife steel in your opinion? It depends. A lot of the knives that I like that are marked with a seal, you know, a mark, are just stainless. Like even some of the more expensive ones. I think that BDN steel that they're making, the BDN steel that they're making a lot of kitchen knives out of, probably pretty good, and the nitrogen steels. So that was Matt Szymanski. Best kitchen knife steel in my opinion. I like the knives with a VG10 core, like the Ken Onion, the Damascus with the VG10 core. Feather Chucker, have you had experience with LCN 200N? LCN 200N or LC 200N, because I'm not sure if that's what you meant. Yeah, I sharpened a Spidey Chef, and that's a nitrogen steel. It's Elliot Williamson made some in it. It was I can't remember the Infinite, and it's a really good steel. It sharpens. It's really, 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 really sharp. Jorbil Core, how do you fend off all the ladies once they see your mad sharpening skills? Please help. Bro, I fend them off by looking like this. Ben Marshall, what specific stones do you use when sharpening a new knife, including removing the factory edge? I don't use any specific stones if the edge is fairly decent. If there's an issue or problem with the edge where I have to reprofile or remove, you know, if it was, you know, ground improperly, then I definitely do use my diamond plates, my diamond plate to do reprofiling. And then after that, it's just a basic, you know, grit progression from the coarse to the fine. But I mean, that's basically, unless I have to, what is that? Oop, nothing. So Dylan White, how many sharpening systems do I own? Currently, one, and it stays in the drawer and never gets used because I do everything freehand. I have currently the Edge Pro Apex, and I use the stones from that to sharpen freehand. Jimmy Evans, thank you for the giveaway. My question is, how do you do such a good job sharpening when you're rocking a good buzz? I can't even eat popcorn and use a remote at TV at the same time. It's second nature. It actually goes better if I've had a few beers, because I can, it's smoother. Ian Bassajori, I can't pronounce it. I'd like to enter the giveaway if you ship to Canada. My question is, what drove you to sign up for military service, patriotism, or other reasons? Other reasons, there really wasn't anything. Where I live, there wasn't anything. It was a way to get away, because I would have wound up in prison if I had stayed back there. Have you ever sharpened, this is Volk Guy, have you ever sharpened S60V, aka 440V? Don't think I have. I really don't think I have. But then again, who knows? So this is Ryan Faircloth. How would you rate the heat treating on Reat and Wee's S35VN and M390 blades? Amazing. It's awesome. They do a very good heat treat. Wee does an especially good job on S35VN, and Reat, I've only ever sharpened one knife in S35VN from Reat. I have another one that just came in, I believe. I haven't sharpened it yet. It's from a gentleman named Jason Hayes. His knife is here, and I believe that it's S35VN. So we'll see what Reat's S35VN is like. Jimmy Sorensen, can I enter greetings all the way from Denmark? As I said in the video that did not save, no, I'm not shipping overseas. In what order would you rank the most common blade steels from your minimum accepted steel type through to the best? That's a question that is, you know, that would require a long period. That would require its own video. In what order would you rank? So here's the thing. Even some of your crappy blade steels that people think are crappy, like there's a lot of people that like, oh, I can't believe you like VG10 or N690. I can't believe you like those. Those are garbage. I'm like, for certain things, they're great. They're fucking great. VG10 is awesome. There's a reason Spyderco keeps using it and has moved away from Maximet. They only ever did that one run at Maximet. So if you guys are ever curious as to, you know, why I'm not worried about it, there's not that many people that are making knives at Maximet. They've realized that it's just not something that's viable. So, Ben Eichner, how do you feel about slip joints? Majority of stuff in his channel use slow cases, flippers. I did an entire video about slip joints and traditional folders and what do you want to call them? Just traditional folders in general. Yeah, I did one. So this is Abe. What's up, Mike? Do you think coffin-shaped handles will be used on folding knives anytime in the near future? Yeah, the coffin-shaped handles, they're easy to make, but the problem is they're easy to shape out. The problem is they're not comfortable. Like a coffin-shaped handle is not comfortable. It's not shaped like your hand. And so it's, you know, it's something that's more rounded and more ergonomic. There's definitely better designs out there than a coffin-shaped handle. So, Abe, there's a question here. Scruffy Unicorn, who was most influential on your path to becoming a sharpener/maker? It was my father. We're not going to get into that one. We've already done videos on that. K-Jack, what do you see happening with American knife companies in the future due to the influx of all the high-quality Chinese brands, if anything? I foresee them going out of business. I've said this before. I look at the knife world as the same as like nature. So if a knife company cannot, if knife companies and knife makers cannot adapt to their surroundings and to the current environment, they're going to die. It's if you don't evolve, the world moves on without you and you become extinct. And so just like with animals in nature that evolve and find a way to keep up with their current environment, knife companies and knife makers aren't doing that. They are stuck in a thing where they're like, oh, well, these guys have been buying our knives for years. Well, guess what? Those guys are no longer buying those knives. Their target market is dying. And when I say that, I mean quite literally. Target market for a lot of these knife makers are the same people that have been buying their knives for 30 years. And what they don't realize is those people are 60 and 70 now. And the new group of new life into the knife community of people that are purchasing are people that are not looking for what they were looking for. They're looking for something like this. They're looking for instant gratification, something that's great, something that works, something that is usable and is not that expensive. And that's where these Chinese companies are able to come in and say, well, hey, guess what? I can provide you the same level of quality as this guy's mid-tech knives that he's selling for $700 and $800 and $900. Or these custom knives that they're selling for $1,200 and $1,300. They're able to come in and say, I can give you this knife, which is every bit as good as that, for $400 or $200, or in the case of this one, $80. And the people that are buying knives today that are like, well, I need a knife for this, but you know, I'm not a knife collector. I'm not a knife enthusiast. As they say on the Knife Nuts podcast, they're filthy casuals. Well, the thing is, the knife enthusiasts are fewer and farther between. And those companies that they're betting the bank on, this is our target market, the target market that's dying. And I would equate that to U.S. businesses, Toys R Us, and some other businesses that are currently going out of business. Sears and Toys R Us and JCPenney, department stores and things like that. Because what they didn't do was they didn't immediately, and Walmart did it well. The second they realized that Amazon was selling online as much of their same products as Walmart did online marketing. But Toys R Us, like, who's going to buy toys on that? Who's going to buy toys on the internet? We're Toys R Us. We be toys and shit. And so Toys R Us is going out of business. Sears is going out of business because they waited too long to adopt that internet sales model, because a lot of Americans now want to get as much done as they can without putting on pants. And so these Chinese companies that are changing the marketplace for knife companies, if you don't adapt and adopt that model, you're going to fail. And you're going to be like Toys R Us and Sears and JCPenney's. You're going to be going out of business. I know that was K-Jack. I know that was a long, drawn-out answer to a simple question. Entranced Vermin, my question is, if you could only have one brand from a big manufacturer like Spyderco, Benchmade, Cold Steel, what brand would you pick? I like Spyderco, but in all honesty, I would probably go with one of the Cold Steel, you know, the big manufacturers. Like Chris and Elliott are only making runs at 25. I would love to have all of their knives, but they're not a big brand. So I would have to say probably Cold Steel, mainly because they put out a large enough selection of things that I would want. And I do like lockbacks. A really good lockback. The Triad lock is one of my favorite locks, so it would have to be Cold Steel, I think. Same with Soto. What got me into sharpening, knife sharpening, knives and sharpening? My dad always had a bunch of knives, and I seen him sharpen. I said that before, so there's the answer to that one. Anthony Bananasak. Banasiak. B-A-N-A-S-I-A-K. Bananasak. That's not how you pronounce it, I know that. What's my favorite brand of U.S.-made fixed blade knives besides mine? There is a company in Northern California, well, not Northern California, they're just outside of San Diego, Strickland Knives. They make some of the sickest Bowie knives you'd ever want to see. I had them in my video of the Cali Custom show. Ashton Groves, what is the worst cut you have ever had? There's a reply in there. Dropped a cold steel, caught it on my middle finger, cut it to bone, got 8 stitches, and some nerves. I can't feel the tip. Worst cut I've ever had, I think I'd have to say that thumb, where I cut the tendon and had to have emergency surgery. Chris Garcia, what is a long-term goal for my business? Well, Chris, my long-term goal for this business is for it to be financially viable enough that I can afford to do the things that I want to do. Right now, I'm sustaining. I would like to be able to start saving. That's the goal, is to, that's the goal of everyone. And then eventually be able to retire. But, even if I retire, I'd probably still be doing this because it's fun and I enjoy it. So CM42ME Jones, given YouTube's current state, do you foresee problems maintaining your channel? I don't think so. Even the gun channels, if you go and you read what actually YouTube is saying they can and can't do, gun channels are not allowed to give detailed information about modifying weapons, any information about changing weapons, anything about bump stocks, things like that. And then the last thing that they're not allowed to do is anything about gun sales. So those are your restricted items. And so, I'm not doing anything that I think would be against their guidelines. Andrew Kane, what was the most difficult knife for you to sharpen? I had a knife come in, besides that Maximat, I had a knife come in from a guy, and it was a Lou Paul Bluefin, and it was bad. It took forever. So to go back, I talked about it in the previous giveaway video. Eric Stark, eStark91, have you ever handled the Spyderco UK PK? And if so, what was your opinion on it? I don't think I have. I looked it up and I looked at it and I don't think so. Phil D, at what age did I learn to shoot? Fuck, I was so young, I don't even remember. I think I would have been, 4 or 5 the first time I ever shot a gun. So me, M-E, capital M, little e. LOL, I just cut my hand the other day too. Damascus katana, nice and deep. I only needed 2 stitches and it was covered by workers' comp. Where do you work that cutting your finger with a katana is covered under... Here, hang on a second. Where do you work? I meant to do this earlier. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I mean, if I would work there. Darren L. Question is, how much money are you willing to pay for a knife? I've had knives that cost over $1,000. I've got 2 knives that in there that are probably $1,000 each. So, I mean, it just depends. I'm willing to pay, if a knife is decent, I'd be willing to pay less. I mean, the price of a knife is not always indicative of quality. I have seen very expensive custom knives that just are garbage. I mean, straight up trash. Like, I would fucking melt them down and burn them. I have a $400 knife on my workbench right now that is that Wander Tactical. I wouldn't give you $30 for that knife. Everything about it is bad, but it's a $450 knife. So what am I willing to pay? Whatever the knife is truly worth. If I feel that the knife is worth it, then I will pay more. But, I mean, if you're just, value for your money. That's basically what I'm getting at. Nicholas Schaefer. Who would win in a fight? A legless Lynn Thompson or an armless Ernie Emerson? I don't know, but I'd pay for a ticket to watch that. What's my opinion? This is a metalhead. All right, meathead. What's your opinion on Kaiser knives? Where am I at on this now? Let's see. We're almost done. That's question number 62 of 71. Too bad I had to do this twice, and I already know who won. What's your opinion on Kaiser knives? I like Kaiser knives. They have some designs that aren't for me. The knives are very well built. Sharpening and sharpness out of the box sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired, but a lot of knife companies are like that. A lot of knife companies are like that, and I get wound up about it. But the truth is, for me, it's not an issue, but their knives really, really are quality knives. But they're, so you have like, when I look at it, I look at Kaiser knives a little different than I look at WE, a little different than I look at Riat. Right now, Riat is top tier when it comes to the Chinese knives. In my opinion, they're the top tier. Their designs are amazing. Their execution's amazing. WE knives, I don't like all of their designs. Their designs are a little bit more over the top sometimes, but once again, quality is amazing. Their heat treat that they use on their steels, like this is done by WE in S35VN, and I told you guys in a video the other day, this is the sharpest knife in my case. It's ridiculous sharp, and it's because of the way they did their S35VN, the way the blades ground. Then you have Kaiser, and after Kaiser's like Bestech. So they're all really good in their own right. That Bestech swordfish that I sent to Aaron that got stolen, that made me sick. That was such a nice knife. Dub Glock 23. My question is, what's your favorite steel to sharpen, take an edge? If I win, I want to pay it forward to Dr. Funky. Dr. Funky. My favorite steel to sharpen has got to be like Microtek's LMAX or Spyderco's BG10. Because they're easier to sharpen. They are easy. They take a ridiculous edge. They really do. They get ridiculous sharp. And then so after that, it would be, you know, S35VN. Like, the thing that, here's the thing, like the most satisfying knives to sharpen are the ones that really cut well on stones and leave that black slurry, and you're like, wow, look at it. And then you get the smell and the feel, and the way it interacts with the stone is different than a harder steel. Sleepy Insomnia, what are your thoughts on carbon steels? Do you use them, and how do they compare to stainless performance, ease of sharpening? Carbon steels are awesome. The problem with carbon steels, and the reason I don't use them, is because there's a lot of moisture and things like that involved in every step of the process of me making a knife. And I've done carbon steel, I've sharpened carbon steel a lot, and carbon steel, it rusts really easily. And I mean, when I say rusts really easily, I mean from the time you touch it to the time you get to something to wipe it off, you could have an orange mark on the blade. And that is reduced significantly in stainless steels. And carbon steels, traditionally made carbon steels, as opposed to like powdered metallurgy like this and some of the others, there's a definite difference in sharpening because the carbides are less evenly distributed, and they're larger, and so you can run into issues where you have cloudy spots on the blade, or spots where, especially in like a carbon steel Damascus, where different layers erode on the stone at a different rate because you have different hardnesses. And you have that in carbon steel, where you may have an area of the blade that just does not seem to want to sharpen, as opposed to others, because you have large carbides and stuff in there that aren't as evenly distributed in some of the more modern steels, and especially the stainless steels. But they usually hold up really well. I mean, one of my favorite fixed blade knives ever is that Mora in their Scandi, in the Scandi grind with that Swedish carbon steel. Holy crap, does that thing cut well. What is your most special knife that I own? I've showed it before. It's that little silver, oh hell, I got my case right here. Hang on a second. I gotta go get it. It's not in here. So there's a tie on, well, not really a tie. These two knives are really, really special. This one was a gift from my father, and so was this one. This one's not near as old. This was a birthday present that my father gave me. It's a Scrimshaw handled Barlow knife. Neither one of them are really expensive knives, but they're things that that my father gave me. And then shortly after that, I just recently received this. This is a Master Blaster, and the reason it's special to me is because it was a gift from some really good friends, and Elliot made this, and he knows me enough to know what I would want. And so it was really special because it was all of my friends together. It was Elliot making it and Chris helping make it and doing anodizing and coloring and ceramic, and then Nico and Matt doing the actual getting together and deciding to get me this Master Blaster. So this is a Maker's Choice Master Blaster that was made after the knife run was well over, and they got together and made me my own Master Blaster in a Maker's Choice. But I don't just have one. Would you leave the edge on the sheep's foot blade sharp? I'm in. I actually didn't. I rounded that over. It was incredibly sharp, and it was a pocket cutter, and it was actually a liability. So I rounded it over just a little bit. Just a little bit to make it the way it probably should have been. So that was Tommy Weigert. Dale Prentice was asking about my special knives. Brian Nichols, nothing but knife reviews. Why don't you swap meet, gun shows, knife shows, flea markets, get your name out there and show all your skills off and your sharpening skills? Because every time I've ever went anywhere with my stones, I've damaged them, and it's a liability. It's expensive. So it's a pain in the ass. And then I would have to have water, and I'd have to replace water, and it truly is more of a hassle than I think it would do to augment my business. Anthony Zulietta. Anthony is the one that won the last giveaway. This isn't knife related, but what's your favorite country to visit outside of the U.S.? There's a couple of them. I love going back to visit my in-laws in Japan. I haven't got to do it. They came this year. I'm not going to be able to do it this year either. Yeah, Japan, and then I always liked Singapore. My wife and I actually went to Singapore together. She met me there one time. Dwayne Smotherman, being good friends with the Firm Forge Boys, have you ever accidentally said something or left a prototype laying on the table in a video where people could see the knife or hear the info on the new blade coming, then had to edit out that part and not tell us? Yes, I have. I've actually gotten all the way home and got ready to post a video and realized that I had to take the whole thing down because I could not edit out the part that was important. Jake H, what is the best way to darken titanium? Only method I've seen is using OxyClean to force oxidize, thus making the tie darker. Why you would want darker tie as opposed to one awesome color, I don't know, but there are other ways. High voltage anodizing will get you a gray where it darkens the titanium, but in all honesty, if you want it to look like this, where it's really dark, about the only way is to use a coating. I use ceramic coatings, I think, in my opinion, having seen the difference between Cerakote and these nano ceramic coatings, they use way better. The ceramic coatings are way better than Cerakote, and they hold up better. And the Cerakote's ugly. It's not smooth. It's not. I mean, like, this has been stonewashed, but you can see it's still reflective. It's still smooth. It's still good, and then you can get. You can get a nice, polished, smooth surface. I have a better one to show you that one. It's right here. I just did this one the other day. So here's a better idea of how these ceramics look. They are really good, and I mean to the point where they're thin. The coating is thin enough you can still read the Chavez. Let me see if I can get this. Chavez American Made, where it's labeled. So they're a very thin coating, and then the rest of it's anodizing. The rest of it is all anodized gold. So this is a 228, and I did the ceramic on all of it. And the other thing too is they don't screw. They're thin enough that they don't screw up the action, and they don't get down in the pivot, in the areas that are threaded and things like that, and screw them up. And so they're easier to apply, and they're so much less bumpy. They're smoother. Insanity. Insanity 125. My question is, what is the craziest place you visited while in the Navy? I don't know. India was fucking nuts. I mean, it was so busy, but I would have to honestly say it would have to be Mombasa, Kenya. Mombasa, Kenya was weird. It was fucking hot, and it was dirty, and it was dusty, and Mombasa, Kenya is like I think it's the capital of Kenya, and you're thinking like bustling city. It's really really dirty, and they had this weird. The food was weird. It was different, way different. All right, and here is the last one. Mike, I have a cold steel Voyager, and it's hard as hell to release the lock to close. Is that common in these folders? Triad locks are notoriously hard to disengage. They are, and that's part of what makes them so good. It's like a lockback, but it requires a lot more force than a typical lockback. This is a well-worn, well-carried knife. I'm telling you that right now. So, all right, guys, that's it. So I already know who the winner is. I'm not going to say anything about it because I already, like I said, I shot the video once. I don't know how because I stopped at like number, let's see here. I stopped at number 30. And then when I came back and got ready to edit after a little bit, I was going to edit everything together and get it posted up as quickly as possible. It was gone. It just like it didn't even save. And I was like, I know it was recording. So we'll see how this goes. I did check when I paused because I did a cut to go grab some stuff. It obviously did record. So I'm going to get it all put together. I know I had the numbers rolling. So, all right, guys, that's it. The giveaway question and answer is over. I have something else that I'm thinking about doing a giveaway on. I actually, so that you guys know, I started, this is the first of, I have enough steel to make a couple of these. Don't ask. I think they're all spoken for already. I think I have enough to make one more of these and then like 3 with the Warncliffe style blade that so this is Scorpion. I'm going to call that the Sea Snake. But they're pretty much all spoken for. So this is S125V. It's a little bit thicker than the prototype, but it's going to be nice. I already started on this. I had 2 of them pre-ordered, and then I have a few to make in the Warncliffe style. So, all right, guys, that's it. Take it easy. I'm tired. It's been a long, drawn-out process. I will talk to you all later, and have a good day.